Hi, everyone. Good evening. Hi. This is so great. First of all, why can't everyone in Kentucky be like Tom Aberle? Seriously. I am so happy and humbled to be here tonight to see so many old friends and make some new ones as well. Judy and Dennis Shepard and I first got to know each other back in 1999, and they are such profiles in courage. To see the way they have transformed their pain into purpose has been truly remarkable. They are awe-inspiring. You know, it means so much to me to receive this Upstander award. The HRC support of LGBTQ people across the country is extraordinary, and I'm grateful to be recognized by an organization that does such critically important work. A big thank you to Jazz and Sarah, two people who are really changing the world. I'm proud to call you my friends. And to Chad and HRC for their leadership advancing the civil rights of LGBTQ people. I love seeing them in my inbox on a regular basis. And they always get me to open those emails with like, Katie, your time is almost up. Or Katie, I think I won like a big prize, but I'm always happy to hear from them. As you just saw, you know, when I first started this journey to learn about gender, things were a little rocky, like Rocky Mountain Rocky. In 2014, on my daytime talk show, very cleverly called Katie, I interviewed Carmen Carrera, who many of you know is a trans fashion model. And I asked her a question that I later realized was offensive and insensitive. Now, because the show was taped to air at a later date, I asked the producer to keep the question in so others could realize, with the help of another guest on that same show, Laverne Cox, just why it was an inappropriate question. I think my desire to provide a teachable moment for my audience was unfortunately overshadowed by my clumsiness and ignorance, and the backlash on social media was swift and harsh. It was clear that even broaching this topic, even in 2014, was fraught, and that I and so many others had a lot to learn. And it was also clear that I didn't have much time to waste. Things were changing, and they were changing fast. There wasn't a day that went by that I didn't see a story about gender, how our preconceived notions were being challenged, how once marginalized voices were now being heard, and the impact this conversation was having on almost every aspect of society. So in the spring of 2016, a time when I imagine many of my friends and probably my husband, John, thought I was crazy for wanting to wade back into this gender conversation, I teamed up with National Geographic and dove in head first. I had met Courtney Monroe, the CEO of Nat Geo Studios, at a premiere of Morgan Freeman's series, The Story of God. And I came to Washington to talk to her and tell her I'd like to do a documentary about gender because I thought I could really help people with this conversation. And she said serendipitously, Susan Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of National Geographic magazine, was devoting an entire issue on gender, and that this could be a companion documentary to go with it. The fact that this iconic organization stepped out in such a way is really, truly brave and phenomenal. And both Courtney and Susan are here tonight, so I'd like them to stand and be recognized by all of you. So, armed with respectful curiosity and a true desire to grow, I traveled across the country to meet families and individuals who are facing these issues in real time so they could share their experiences, the struggles, the joys, the life lessons they're learning as they embrace the idea that gender identity does not always align with what is written on our birth certificates. It was incredibly powerful to witness the strength of these parents, the honesty of these children, and the love of these families. I learned so much from everyone I met. People like Ellie Ford, a 6-year-old whose parents, JR and Vanessa, are here tonight. On her 4th birthday, Ellie told her parents, "I'm not a boy, I'm a girl in my heart and in my mind." They followed her lead with openness and unconditional love. People like Christina Hudson, a California mom who said she finally found the courage to Google transgender when her child asked if she killed herself, would she come back as a girl? People like Michaela Mendelson, an LA businesswoman who transitioned at the age of 56 and is now working with state officials to incentivize businesses to hire more trans employees. She has seen firsthand what a good job and a welcoming workplace and the possibility of advancement, how that can lift up a marginalized community and how it's really good for business as well. I spent time with students at Yale who gave me, as we saw, a lesson in pronouns and told me that some cultures have been rejecting the confines of the binary for as long as humanity has existed all across the world, but some just haven't made space for people to be who they really are. I took a train to Frederick, Maryland to spend time with Brian Douglas. Brian was born intersex at a time when doctors performed surgery to make sure a newborn's anatomy would align with gender norms, something that still happens too frequently today. Raised as Diane, Brian never felt right and discovered the truth when he was 30. I spent time with Kate and Linda Rohr in Fort Bragg, California. An orthopedic surgeon, Kate had gender confirmation surgery when she was 70. She and Linda, after 48 years of marriage, are still happily married today. I met with researchers on the front lines of this new and exciting field who explained, using brain scans, genetics, and longitudinal studies, the biological factors that contribute to gender identity. Needless to say, I got quite an education, and I hope watching me become more enlightened helped encourage other people to come along for the ride. It was eye-opening and life-changing, but the ride wasn't simple or easy. Many of us are culturally conditioned to see the world in a certain binary way. Adapting to a new normal can be a bit scary. It requires realigning your mindset. But adapt we must, not only because the train has left the station, but because it's the right thing to do. One of those Yale students told me arriving at this new understanding will take radical patience, but Jillian Weiss, the executive director for the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund, who wants to ensure that all people are afforded the rights and protections they deserve, said it will require radical impatience. There's just too much at stake and too many lives are on the line. But what's also needed is radical kindness. As Dr. Oz told me after I appeared on his show to talk about gender revolution, it's hard to hate up close. So, as many of you know, when a child transitions, a family transitions. And when a family transitions, a community transitions. And when enough communities transition, an entire country transitions. We cannot go back. We've got to continue to march forward. So please, all you educators, take advantage of Gender Revolution. Watch it, shameless plug. You can see it on iTunes, Nat Geo On Demand, Hulu. You can get a copy and you can host screenings in your school for teachers, for students, for parents, and also use the fantastic National Geographic discussion guide. You honor me by doing that even more than you honor me by getting a colonoscopy. Well, maybe about the same, actually. So thank you to everyone here tonight for all that you're doing, for keeping this conversation going, for educating us and helping us learn together, because truly, people really are teachable. And that is the only way we'll be able to get on with it, to focus on what's really important, the unique voice that we all have, what's in the heart and mind of every human being, and how we can all help make this world a better place for everyone. Thank you so much for this award and for believing in some small way I've done just that. Thank you.